I think when we talk about what SD-WAN is, I think everybody kind of knows that software-defined wide area networking. And if we look specifically to what people associate with SD-WAN, it's of course VPN, routing, and firewall. The thing that I can't emphasize this loud enough is that SD-WAN, unlike things like Wi-Fi or LTE or Ethernet or some other common things, those other kind of DOCSIS, even those common acronyms that you hear have standards bodies behind them. So that means if you're a DOCSIS 3.1 compatible network, or you're Wi-Fi 802.11ac or something like that, there are some specifications that that the manufacturer or developer must meet in order to be qualified. When we talk SD-WAN, it is just that. It is not a standard, and it is just thought to be generally the applications of VPN, routing, and firewall, and in some cases, not even all those types of things. So my interpretation of what SD-WAN is, and your interpretation of SD-WAN, and my competitor's interpretation of what SD-WAN may be, may vary so much. So the one piece of advice I can give everybody is that SD-WAN is something that when you're working with your customers, that you need to know exactly what needs they are. And while I think I can address probably 90% of most people's needs, they may have a niche play that may be something I don't do that someone else does better. But I think in most cases, I think you'll find that we'll be the best solution for a majority of our customers out there. Again, because there is no standard, features and functions between us and our competitors will vary. When I think about what I would characterize as 4 common scenarios for SD-WAN for our solution, and of course there's about a jigillion, if that's even a word, variations on this, but we put up what I would consider to be the 4 most common. And the first one, which is probably by far the most common, which is pure SD-WAN play, where a customer has somewhere with, based on our ability, somewhere between 1 and 4 connections, leveraging different forms of internet access. That internet access can be, of course, cable-based, it can be fiber-based, it could be DSL-based, T1-based, cellular-based, whatever makes sense. We're able to do up to 4 connections, mix and match however you see fit for that site, for that customer. Plugging into our UCP, again, up to 4 connections. And that is by far the most common version. Again, leveraging up to 4 connections. The second most common is to the right of that, the hybrid WAN. And this is, there's really 2 scenarios that I see for the hybrid WAN. This assumes a customer already has MPLS and needs to grow their bandwidth beyond what a lot of MPLS can provide in a cost-effective way. And with Spotify and Pandora being 2 of the most popular applications on corporate networks, whether large corporations or small corporations, being able to, if nothing else, get that traffic off the MPLS and onto a commodity-based internet would be very powerful to freeing up that MPLS rather than adding additional T1s and T1s and T1s until it gets crazy expensive with limited bandwidth. So we have the ability to run a hybrid network with 2 goals in mind. One is the one I just stated, where a customer loves their MPLS, doesn't want to get rid of it, but they just simply want a smart device like our UCPE to be able to take that unnecessary traffic that does not require to traverse the MPLS and basically get it off and either leverage internet breakout at that point and or have it traverse the VPN to get to the other sites that they're trying to get to. So with that in mind, hybrid can either be run like that as a permanent solution if somebody loves their MPLS, or what we think is most common based on our customer conversations is that many customers are looking for a way to get off their MPLS in an elegant fashion. So they can add our SD-WAN, have it run hybrid for a period of time with both internet and MPLS. When they get comfortable with that SD-WAN, then start to transition those MPLS connections off to a different connection method so they can still remain redundant. One common myth about SD-WAN in general is that SD-WAN always requires 2 connections, and While many people do run two connections for redundancy, it does not have to be two connections. It can be one, and the reason you'd want to have just one connection is you just want to have a location be a member of a mesh-style software-based network. So don't ever write off the fact that if there's only one connection available that it can't be leveraged. It certainly can be. On the bottom left, we're talking about a hybrid version of high availability. Basically, what we're saying here is that two UCPs can be put in place connecting to some of the access that's available. The idea behind this is that if the UCP were ever to blow up, the second one would keep the site up and running. So that's a great option that we have to offer. And finally, the last common option that we see is that people want SD-WAN strictly for backup, and they continue to want their router to make those decisions, whatever the router is. And I guess the point of this is that while these are very common solutions, the two at the top are definitely the most common, there are a lot of ways to mix and match. So these are definitely not the only four scenarios, but these are probably some of the most four common ones that we've seen.